All right, today we're going to look at the Saffire LXI. That is our interconnected deadbolt. On the outside, you've got the deadbolt and a passage lever. On the inside, they're connected together where when you turn the lever, it retracts that deadbolt for you. We've got the MN002 ESKB-SKB-1100R here. This is our LXI that has a SN lever. It's all black. It is 5.5 inch spacing between the holes on the door, so center to center is 5.5 inch. We also have an option for 4 inch, but this one we're doing is the 5.5, and we've got a 2 3/4 back set on it. That's the distance from the edge of the door to the center of the hole. We have a 2 3/8 option. We're doing 2 3/4 today, and we have a T-strike in here for the cylindrical latch portion, regular deadbolt strike for your deadbolt. So let's open up the box and see what's in here. On top of the box, we've got our gasket. We're not going to need this today because I'm just doing this on a demo mount, but if you're putting this on an exterior door, you want to utilize this gasket. We also have our T-strike here. I'm not going to use this today because I don't have a door frame I'm putting this on, but it does come with the T-strike and a little bitty dust box for it. All right, we've got the inside of the lock here. Now, like I said, this is using our SN lever. We also have our passage lever for the outside of the lock, again with our SN lever. We have our reader deadbolt system here. This is the exact same we use with the LXD. We have our cylindrical latch. We have our deadbolt here. We have the strike plate for the deadbolt. It even comes with the heavy-duty armature plate and the long screws, so you can actually get all the way down into the wood studs to give you a nice strong latch there. Comes with our 3 AA batteries. We're nice enough to include those for you. We have our screw pack with 2 different tail pieces in it. One tail piece is longer than the other, depends on what your thickness of the door is. We'll be using the shorter one today. And we have the 2 little shafts here that one of these spindles goes in the outside lever. That will be the one with the little ring on it here. The other one goes on the inside lever. Spring part goes into the lever, and then the spindle goes into the door, and the tip here is what actually goes into that cylindrical portion to retract the cylinder. So I believe, yes, that's all the parts we have in the box here. So we're going to open all these up, and then we'll put them on the door. All right, now that we've got all our parts out of the box, open all our bags, I'm going to show you how this goes onto the door. So I'm going to take my mount here, and I've got an advantage you don't have in the field. I can lay my door down on its side. I'm going to take the deadbolt first, and I'm going to put this in, and this little slot here needs to be on the bottom when this is mounted. Do not mount it with that slot on the top. It's got to be on the bottom. So I'm going to slide that in. I'm also going to take and put my cylindrical latch in here. Grab my screws. The cylindrical latch actually comes with combo screws, whether it's wood or metal. My deadbolt comes with both types of screws, the wood and the metal screws. We're using wood screws here, obviously. Get all these in. And just a little pride in my work, I like to try to get all these screws and turn them where they're all pointed the same direction. Just makes it look a little nicer out there. So I got them all turned up and down here. All right, so I'm gonna stand my door back up. You can put the top deadbolt portion on first, or you can put the cylindrical lever on first. I'm gonna go ahead and put the deadbolt on first just because I want to. Really shouldn't matter. Now we've got our deadbolt here. We've got to take and set the handing of it. If I look in the back of this, I've got an LH at the top and an RH at the bottom. there's a little ring here with a slot in it. I need to make sure that slot is pointing towards whatever handing I want. This is a right-hand door, so I've actually already got it pointed down towards right hand. I'm gonna take my shorter tailpiece here, and I'm gonna snap it in. I wanna make sure that thing's snapped in and holding. Don't want it to come loose at any point. There's also a piece of plastic here that is covering this wire, keeping it held down. I want to make sure that plastic stays in place there. And when I put this on the door, I want to make sure that this wire goes underneath the deadbolt and that tailpiece goes through the deadbolt. Do not want that wire going above the deadbolt or it will get pinched. So we got to get it going underneath the deadbolt. So I've got it on there. Got my inside housing here. Got a T10 screw in the bottom that I've got to take out just to pull the cover off. So I'm going to pull out that T10. Now, with this lever we have on here, this Essen lever, I can't get the housing off with it on. So I've got to take a 3mm hex drive here and 3mm Allen wrench, loosen that screw, then I can pull that handle off. Kind of set it to the side for the moment. Now I can get the cover off. Most of your LXIs, that handle is not removable. It's only removable on the Essen because that's a custom lever. I also want to make sure that my little slot up here is turned sideways, not up and down. That tailpiece isn't going to go in if it's up and down. So I've got it sideways, and there's a little slot right below, just above the battery compartment. That's where the wire harness goes through. So I'm going to take and put this on the door, slide that wire through, slide the tailpiece through, and now I get to take another advantage and lay my door down, which you can't do in the field. I'm going to take my 3 mounting screws, start those in here. And I'm not going to tighten these down all the way. I'm just going to tighten them enough to hold everything together, because when I go to put that bottom lever on, I want to be able to adjust this just to make sure if I need to be right, left, up, down, whatever. So I'm just going to tighten these down a little bit, but not all the way. So, got those on. Got my bottom lever that I want to put on. I'm going to take the outside lever, and I'm going to take this spindle that's got the little ring on it. I'm going to put the spring into the lever and let the spindle stick out. And I'm going to take and slide it into the door, just like that. And I've got the spindle for the other side that I can slide through, and I've got to make sure it lines up into that cylindrical lever. If you're having a little hard time lining it up, you can always pull the lever off the other side, so you can kind of look through and get it lined up so that it goes into that cylinder part there. And this is one of those reasons you might want to keep these screws a little bit loose so you can move the housing up, down, however you need to do it. But you've got to make sure that that piece slides through, and I was actually a little off there. And it just popped in. You heard it pop. So I've got that side in. I've got my outside that I put in there. Now, if you were to actually look inside this lock, there's 2 little ears right here that are kind of blocking my mounting holes. I'll show you a trick. This one, the lever's not attached, so I have to add it back temporarily. But you know, with all the others, the levers are attached there. If you turn your lever a little bit, you can take something that's about 2 millimeter in size, or I think I've got a 3/32 drill bit here. And I'm just gonna slide that down through this hole, and it's gonna help hold everything open. It basically holds that lever in place. I'm just gonna move the lever out of the way because I can. And then I'm gonna take and run my screws through these holes and attach that outside lever. So that piece is only there to help hold these out of the way. You could just turn the lever and hold it, but it's so much easier to stick something in that hole to hold everything in place. And now I've got everything attached. I need to look at it, make sure that my lock is straight, basically true to the edge of the door. I'm not worried about being level here. I want to be true to the edge of this door. If you're doing a lot of these, you might want to make some little template just so you're the same space at the top as you are down here at the bottom. Just make sure everything lines up real well. Kind of the same thing on the inside. Make sure this is true to the edge of the door. And once it is, I'm just going to take and tighten these screws the rest of the way. And don't forget to tighten those top screws also. Be careful when tightening these screws that you don't pinch any of these battery cables, cause a problem there. So I've got all that tightened down. I'm going to go ahead and take my 3 AA batteries, pop them into place. So they're in there, and I can go ahead and connect my battery cable up. I heard the little whir of the motor, so I know it's powered up. Kind of tuck this cable over here out of the way so it doesn't get pinched or anything. I'm going to pull that drill bit out that was holding everything. And now see, if I turn the inside lever, it is retracting the latch on me. If I turn the outside lever, I'm retracting the latch. So I know everything's on there good. I do want to test the card read to make sure it's working. It is. All that's working the way it should. So now I'm going to pull that handle out of the way so that I can put my back cover on. And this cover goes on real easy. There is a little top piece here that I need to take a flathead screwdriver and pop off. That just exposes my top 2 mounting holes. So now when I slide this on, there are 2 screws that go in that area at the top to secure the top portion of the cover on. Since this is such a tall body, you know, we're talking a 5.5 inch on center span here that we're covering up with this. So I'll run those 2 screws in. And I'm going to go ahead while I'm doing this and just turn my thumb turn just to make sure it's working right, and it is. I'm going to put my cover back on this. I'm going to take that lever and I'm going to get my 3mm driver, and I'm going to tighten that lever back down. And the only thing that's left is putting the screw in the bottom. I get to turn my door upside down where you don't, sorry. But I also have a piece of wood here kind of in the way of the bottom of this demo mount. You won't have that out at the site. I'm going to tighten that screw down. And I've got everything on here. Give it one final check before I shut everything up. It locks, it unlocks from the outside, same from the inside. My handles retract the lever at the bottom. And the final test, if I have my deadbolt extended and turn the inside lever, it retracts the deadbolt just like it should. So this is how we take and put the LXI on the door. Thank you for joining us.